Imagine a resource so vital, so potent, that entire civilizations rose and fell in its pursuit. Not gold, nor jewels, but something far more fundamental, often overlooked. For millennia, ancient armies clashed, empires expanded, and societies flourished, all driven by the silent power of a single, humble grass. This is the story of wheat, the golden blade that carved history, a crop whose control was worth more than 1,000 legions. Join us as we uncover why this unassuming plant sparked some of the most dramatic conflicts of the ancient world. Our story begins roughly 10,000 years ago, in the verdant crescent of Mesopotamia. Here, a wild grass was first domesticated, sparking what historians call the Neolithic Revolution. This wasn't just about a new food source. It was the birth of settled human society. No longer bound by the hunt, communities began to plant, harvest, and store. This profound shift from nomadic hunter-gatherer to agrarian farmer laid the very groundwork for villages, then towns, then the sprawling cities and empires that would define the ancient world. Without this humble grass, civilization as we know it might never have taken root. Wheat possessed unparalleled qualities for ancient societies. It offered high caloric value, could be cultivated in diverse climates, and, most crucially, was storable for extended periods. This allowed for the creation of surplus food, insulating communities from immediate famine, and supporting an increasing population. From the daily bread that sustained a peasant family to the elaborate offerings in a temple, wheat quickly became the undisputed cornerstone of ancient diets. It was the fundamental energy source, powering everything from manual labor to intellectual pursuits, forming the bedrock of daily existence. Beyond mere sustenance, wheat swiftly transformed into currency. It was used to pay tribute, levy taxes, and facilitate complex trade networks. Empires measured their wealth not solely in precious metals, but often in vast quantities of harvested grain. Control over fertile, grain-producing lands became synonymous with economic power and state authority. The ability to produce, collect, and distribute wheat was essential for funding public works, maintaining vast administrations, and, critically, supporting standing armies. It was the lifeblood of ancient fiscal systems. An army, famously, marches on its stomach. For ancient empires, feeding thousands of soldiers on long campaigns presented a monumental logistical challenge. Wheat, processed into durable hardtack or ground into flour for bread, was the perfect military provision. Lightweight, highly nutritious, and resistant to spoilage, a reliable grain supply meant armies could extend their reach, sustain themselves far from home, and undertake prolonged sieges. The golden fields were not just a food source. They were the strategic engine behind every conquest and defense, making warfare on a grand scale possible. Certain regions, blessed with exceptional fertility, quickly became vital breadbaskets, their bountiful fields coveted prizes. Egypt, with the life-giving Nile, served as Rome's indispensable granary. Sicily supplied the burgeoning Greek city-states, and later the Roman Republic. The fertile plains bordering the Black Sea were crucial for numerous empires. Control of these key agricultural zones wasn't merely about expanding territory. It was about ensuring national survival. These areas were fiercely contested, constant sources of geopolitical tension, igniting countless conflicts across the ancient world. In the brutal calculus of ancient warfare, controlling the food supply became a primary tactic. Sieges were designed to starve out defiant cities, cutting off vital grain routes. Armies would employ scorched earth policies, devastating enemy farmlands and destroying harvests to cripple an opponent's ability to wage war. The capture or destruction of grain stores could break an enemy's will and capacity to resist more effectively than any direct battle, leading to mass famine and forced surrender. The humble grain was a weapon of immense destructive power. The delicate balance of grain supply held immense sway over the stability of ancient rulers. Shortages invariably led to skyrocketing prices, sparking widespread discontent among the populace. Bread riots were common occurrences in major cities, especially Rome, where the populace's demand for daily rations could ignite civil unrest capable of toppling emperors and plunging regions into civil war. The people's hunger, and the state's failure to appease it, was a potent revolutionary force, often dictating the fate of entire empires and dynasties. Numerous historical conflicts explicitly illustrate the central role of grain. The Peloponnesian War, for instance, saw Athens and Sparta relentlessly vie for control of vital grain shipping routes. Rome's relentless expansion was frequently fueled by the insatiable need to secure more arable land and reliable food sources for its growing population and army. From the fertile plains of Mesopotamia to the rich fields of Gaul, the quest for this golden blade sculpted battlefields, redrew borders, and determined the very rise and fall of ancient civilizations. While the battlefields and empires of antiquity have faded, the fundamental importance of grain has not. From ancient conflicts over fertile river valleys to modern geopolitics, food security remains a paramount concern for nations worldwide. Access to and control over staple crops like wheat continues to dictate international relations, shape economic policies, and, in some cases, still spark conflicts. The humble grass that launched civilizations and fueled ancient wars continues to exert a silent, yet undeniable, golden power over our world today. We often focus on the grand narratives of history, the kings, the generals, the dramatic battles, and monumental structures. But beneath these more visible sagas lies a profound, often overlooked truth: the unseen hand of agriculture, specifically the systematic cultivation of wheat. It was the ultimate strategic asset, the fundamental bedrock upon which all power, prosperity, and indeed civilization itself was ultimately built. The next time you see a field of grain, remember its silent, formidable power, the true architect of the ancient world. From the cradle of civilization to the very heart of empire, one humble grass dictated the destiny of millions. Wheat wasn't merely food, it was wealth, power, and the ultimate strategic weapon. It fueled armies, fed populations, and when scarce, ignited revolutions. Its golden fields were both a blessing and a curse, a source of unparalleled prosperity and endless conflict. The stories of ancient wars are often complex, but at their root, many reveal the enduring human struggle for the most basic, yet most powerful, resource: the golden blade of grain.